Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. I briefly explained in another video on my channel the difference between the waterfall and agile approach when it comes to consulting projects. And after receiving feedback from colleagues and friends who were unfamiliar with what these were and what it meant, I've decided to make a video on it. So today, I'll be breaking down how and where consultants use the agile versus waterfall approach when it comes to working on client projects. If you're interested in consulting, be sure to check out the other videos on this channel where I share more information regarding careers and management consulting, as well as the professional recruitment process. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're finding these videos helpful. And let's get into it. When it comes to these two methodologies, you're likely to be working on a technology project like building an in-house software or implementing a pre-existing model. Regardless, the approach you'll be taking for either vary significantly, so being able to assess the situation and have all the appropriate information is crucial, especially when moving forward. The difference between the agile and waterfall method is the approach you'll be taking when it comes to solving your client's problems. The agile method, as the name refers, is agile, meaning that it changes and varies once new information or suggestions are incorporated within the project scope. You'll be adapting previous strategies and incorporating new ways to move your project forward. So if you're wanting user feedback or ways to test out your new software, for example, you'll likely be using the agile approach. Waterfall, on the other hand, flows from one step to another without going back and changing anything. You'll be needing more concrete and unchangeable information to follow a more linear trajectory. For both these approaches, you'll be following a list of steps that must be completed before moving forward. However, if new information is presented, especially while using the agile methodology, you'll likely be going back and finding new ways to incorporate it. Now, for both the agile and waterfall approach, you'll be needing to follow 7 steps. The first step is conception. This is where you gather all your information, conduct your informational interviews with consultants or clients before drafting a plan of action. Once you have that, you'll be going into your initiation step. This is where you'll be designing how you want your project to move forward. If you're given certain requirements like a finite budget or time frame, you'll have to take these into consideration in order to make your client happy. After the initiation comes your third step, which is analysis. Here's where you've gathered all your information and you're synthesizing the requirements and setting up your plan for moving forward. Keep in mind that the steps that I'm presenting isn't like a checklist where everything must be checked off before moving forward. Technology consultants, for example, have more familiarity with these processes or have a structure depending on their firm and follow it simply to just meet their clients' expectations. What I'm sharing with you guys is more of a theoretical approach to solving the agile or waterfall methodology. But after these 3 steps comes the design phase, where you actually go into the coding, if necessary, for developing the software that the client will be implementing in their company. This tends to be the longest step if you're building from scratch because you want everything to align and fit accordingly. You're wanting each piece of the puzzle to come together and give you that big picture image of what you're hoping for. In this case, what the client needs from you though. The 5th step revolves around testing the software and checking for bugs or glitches that will adversely affect how your system operates. It's kind of like proofreading for typos on a paper. You're getting feedback through alpha or beta testing to determine suggestions that could be made for improvement. From here, you're testing the system and checking for anything else before getting ready to show your client. Keep in mind, however, that client will be in the middle of the project too to some degree and will check in with certain deliverables or dates just to make sure that everything is going accordingly, as well as to see if you have any questions. It's always best to be transparent and communicate your needs, as well as what you've done to make sure you guys are both happy. And after going through all the designing and developing and feedback, comes the time when you deliver your finished product to the client. This entire project can take anywhere from several weeks to several months depending on its size and information being provided. It may sound daunting at first, but once you have more practice and familiarity, it will become a routine. For those who are a science major in school, it's kind of like when you're doing research. You propose a hypothesis, run the test, and then come up with conclusions. At the end, you present your findings. This is obviously abridged, but I hope you do get the idea. What's important to note though is that both the agile and waterfall approach will go through these steps that I mentioned earlier. The only difference is that the agile will probably work back and forth as opposed to being more linear in the waterfall. That's why the waterfall methodology isn't as commonly used. If you're working on federal or military projects that have strict standards and requirements, you're likely to be following that waterfall methodology. In the waterfall approach, you're also following a time limit and restrained budget, So everything must be done accurately, especially since it's only going to be done once and can't go back. With all the change going on in our world on a macro and even microscopic level, it's clear that being adaptable is important. That's why most projects will revolve around the Agile methodology, because it provides the opportunity to get involved and make the required changes. When you're involved in a waterfall project, it can be harder to manage a team because you'll be needing to synchronize your work to make sure that you're ready to move on. Whereas in the Agile approach, it allows you to have feedback and to move forward at a less strict pace. So what I want the takeaway of this video to be is to explain how and where the Agile and Waterfall approach can be used for not only technology consultants, but for anyone working on a team project. The Agile approach tends to provide more flexibility, whereas the Waterfall tends to reduce any risk by following a stricter guideline. With that being said, I hope you found this video to be helpful. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help out the channel, as well as share in the comments below if you're interested in certain topics for me to cover on this channel. Don't forget to visit my website ryanrafi.com if you're interested in learning more about consulting or want any career advice from reviewing your resume to sending out full-time or internship applications. As always, thanks. Until next time.